I've talked in the past about companies that offer their player base a true service. I've said this with great irony when talking about the games industry, as the higher-ups really like to take a good thing and add in whatever they have to so that they can milk as much money, attention, or control out of said players. We've talked about Sony before. In fact, it was Sony that started the True Service series for me, and I'm not surprised that they've shown up again. So, what are we talking about here? Well, at the beginning of 2024, a game called Helldivers 2 was released. In this game, you fight in a team of up to 4 players as a soldier from Super Earth against the rising threat of the bug and robot armies that are ignorantly trying to take our democracy. The game was developed by Arrowhead Studios and is not only extremely fun, but when you know the true story behind this basic premise, you realize this game is a satirical propaganda-based comedy. After which you might realize you live in the very country this game is making fun of, and you laugh maniacally because deep down you know that everyone knows, but nobody can or wants to do anything about it. Then you hang your head in shame because that evil laugh was you trying to be proud of this country, but you realize you're just a pawn in all of this as well. And then you go another round fighting for liberty with your friends. Arrowhead obviously cares a lot about this game, and that shows by how playful they've been with the story and the community. Problem is, their publisher is Sony Interactive. You see, the game was supposed to launch as a PlayStation Network title, which meant that anyone who played the game, even on Steam, would have to make a PSN account in order to play. We have evidence of this given the CEO of Arrowhead admitted this on Twitter. Problem was, the PSN network was bugged out on launch day, which was causing massive issues, and people couldn't even play the game. So the devs were told by the CEO to remove the PSN requirement and re-implement it later. Only thing, it was never re-implemented, and the CEO didn't talk about this requirement when he would discuss the game, likely because he was so overjoyed by how well this game was doing. 6 months later, Sony got on the CEO's ass about the PSN requirement, and this is where the controversy starts. Sony themselves even said on their own Helldivers FAQ page that this game did not require a PSN account at this time, which was great news for anyone who played the game. Problem was, they were now going to force this as a requirement, and this was a terrible move for a lot of different reasons. The first being the various country restrictions. There are 195 recognized countries in the world, whatever that's supposed to mean, and of those 195 countries, the PlayStation Network is only available in 69 of them. This means that there are 126 countries with potential gamers who might be playing Helldivers that would not be allowed to continue because of this PSN requirement. Now, one might say, okay, but VPNs exist, so if you live in one of these countries, just get a VPN, place yourself in a country that has access to PSN, and make the account that way. See, that's a smart idea. The problem is, Sony themselves have a clause in their terms of service that if you attempt to do that, your account will be banned, and wouldn't you know it, this very thing happened. This Chinese man's account was banned because he wanted to keep playing Helldivers. The PSN requirement was going into effect, so he got a VPN, signed up, and now his account and all of his hard work in Helldivers is gone. This isn't the only account that this has happened to either. So what did Sony do? Well, they decided to remove Helldivers from sale in 177 countries and territories. Seems like a smart move, but this isn't the only issue here. Another reason many gamers didn't want to sign up for PSN was due to security breaches. Every company is susceptible to these, but it happens to Sony a lot. Millions of accounts have had their info leaked in the past, and with this in mind, it leads you to a few questions. This game was working perfectly fine before the PlayStation Network being attached to it, so why fix what isn't broken here? Why should I put my accounts and passwords at risk when there's seemingly no benefit of doing this? What is it Sony is looking for? See, on a PlayStation account, they have access to credit and debit cards, emails, gamer tags, full names and addresses, but my PC has all of that info and more. What would Sony be allowed to scrub through, and why is that essential just to be able to play this game? I mean, hell, in certain countries, you have to upload a photo of your ID and a photo of yourself to prove it's you in order to make a PSN account. Now, Sony's answer to these questions is that they wanted this account for extra security, to protect the players. That way, if a player was banned on the Steam version, they'd also be banned on their PlayStation, so they couldn't just buy a new copy and continue whatever got them banned. And I could see this, but the developers of the game have anti-cheats in place, and the community's been really great about putting bounties on grievers and making the game hell for those who would want to ruin the experience for others. The logical answer, Sony, and I wish you would have just been honest here, you saw this game was doing well, and conveniently it was a Sony title. So you went back to the PSN requirement so you could show your shareholders how great this term has been for you. Look at all the PSN accounts we gathered this quarter. Gosh, aren't we pleased with ourselves? And you gotta know that we as gamers don't give a shit. We want to play the game, that's it. Now, to be fair to Sony, they did want this PSN requirement from the get-go, and the only reason it didn't happen was due to a network glitch, and to be honest, had this game shipped with the PSN requirement, I think things would have been fine. Though it likely wouldn't have been as popular due to that requirement in the various countries that are restricted, but still, I don't think it would have made as much in the way of headlines. But after they saw the sales of this game and got themselves hungry for accounts, this did not go well for them. Players started review bombing the hell out of this game. It went from overwhelmingly positive to mixed in as little as 2 days, and as of making this video, there are over 218,000 negative reviews. Valve has also allowed people to refund the game even though they'd had hundreds of hours into it, and this is when Sony woke up and realized they were not in control of this situation. Only 3 days after this whole thing started, Sony sent this tweet. Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. The May 6 update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. Now, I don't know what they mean by future plans here, but it seems like Sony realized that a lot of PC gamers switched to PC to get away from all the corporate bloat. We like adjusting our in-game settings, we like choosing what frame rate we play our games at, we like playing games online without having to pay some ridiculous fee, and trying to implement these kinds of control tactics do not work for this type of gamer. See, the thing you have to realize, Sony, and I hope this sticks, we PC gamers hold the largest platform of video games. Helldivers is great, and Arrowhead did an incredible job with this, but if you swoop in with some bullshit, we aren't on a PlayStation. We don't have to bend over and take it. We have literally everything else to play, and as you saw, most people would rather take the time to write a review, refund the game, and play something else than sign up to be under your thumb. That's simply not our style. Could they have done this right? Yeah, I think they could. I mean, it's extremely obvious that they wanted the PSN accounts to boost their numbers and impress their higher-ups. If they really wanted to do this, they should have incentivized it. Hey guys, we wanted to implement our PlayStation Network into Helldivers since it launched, but unfortunately it wasn't running at the time. Now that it's back up and running, we've got some options for you. We're well aware that some countries don't allow our network, so obviously they don't have to sign up and you don't either. But if you do link your existing PlayStation account or make a new one, we're giving away the most recent Battle Pass to those who join. Not a requirement, but we appreciate it if you do. This to me seems like the fairest way to handle this situation, but of course that would mean Sony potentially misses out on those sweet Battle Pass sales. Plus, it wouldn't really incentivize people who already had the Battle Pass, but I think you get the idea. Now, normally when I end one of these types of videos, I make a snarky little comment and end the video with a fun pun to tie it all together. And I was going to do that, so just know it was going to be great. But I saw far too many Steam discussions about this topic that were hysterical, and I wanted to share those with you. Sony should stop porting games to ungrateful, privileged, whining babies. You all don't deserve it for real. Sony comes and gives you all those great games, and in return you review bomb and mass refund a game made with passion because your privileged ass couldn't spend 30 seconds to make a PSN account. Congrats, crybabies, you won. Congrats to the great PCMR. You literally begged, cried, and complained Sony into submission, all because you clowns are too lazy and ignorant to link up your PSN. I'm glad being entitled works for you clowns. Must be nice to agree to something and be allowed to ignore what you agreed to. Enjoy not having any more exclusives on your platform. Well done, you crybabies, you just played yourself. Going forward, Sony is not going to release its exclusives on PC. Slow hand clap. Well done, you crybabies, you just played yourselves. Helldivers is going to die. Community should repent to Sony. The mass non-thinking clown NPCs raging for no reasons other than hate at Arrowhead devs/Sony is a problem, and part of how dumber gamers just rage at new releases. The former PC master race has been infiltrated year by year till now we have gamers that don't understand specs, requirements, game development, and just rage at releases not being perfect experiences on day one, when it's been like this for 2 decades. It's likely now Helldivers' budget will be decreased, and the content drop will be removed as it is less profitable. We must remember that evil can never create, only corrupt and seethe in discussion, and refund games crying over $40 purchases, and people complaining about being unable to play games in countries they aren't even in. You don't live in the Popple States. R.I.P. Helldivers. This one's obviously a troll and I love it. Most ungrateful community ever. We had a good thing. You ungrateful, thankless goobers. We had an amazing new game, we had updates, we had everything we needed, and it all ran like clockwork. You could have linked your damn PSN account and just play as many hours as you wish. It was perfect. But no, you just had to blow it up. You and your pride and your ego, you just had to be the informed consumers. If you'd shown your support, known your place, we'd all be fine right now. And this last one. Time to update your reviews. Just my 2 cents. We all know this is a great game with lots of support from the developers with all the new content in such a short amount of time. Yes, what happened was wrong, and we won the battle. The review bomb stratagem was a great tool, and combining that with social media missile was an excellent nuke on their plan. I myself have updated my review, and I'm just waiting for the system to approve it. I would encourage all who still enjoy the game to do the same. It's a great way to show the future citizens how great this game is. On that note, I fully agree with this guy. The battle has been won. The devs over at Arrowhead made a great game, and it deserves to live in history as such. If you wrote a bad review over this situation, at least consider updating it. This fight wasn't against Arrowhead. This fight was against Sony. We stood together. We stood strong. And we took back our freedom, our liberty, our democracy. Hopefully I'll see you on the battlefield.